Tropical Depression 28 is formed in the Western Caribbean today. It's at 18.9 degrees north, 83.1 degrees west as of 11 p.m. Central Daylight Time this October the 24th. Well, here's the storm on satellite. It's got a very nice convective flare over it right now with winds of 35 miles per hour and a pressure of 1,004 millibars. It's moving west-northwest at 18 miles per hour and is a stage 2 on the CDPS scale for those in the Yucatan Peninsula. Well, what's that mean exactly? Well, why is it a stage 2? Well, it is moderate when it comes to wind speed. It'll probably be around 60 miles per hour as it passes by. Storm size is going to be relatively low. Rainfall potential moderate to significant with over 12 inches of rain possible in some spots. And the overall threat to land will be moderate to significant as well. Again, that means a significant threat to the Yucatan Peninsula is present with this, and this could be a conservative CDPS rating with an upgrade to Stage 3 definitely being on the cards by this time tomorrow. Well, here's the storm's wind field. No tropical storm force winds just yet, but as you'll see on our cone here shortly, tropical storm force winds are expected to be present with this storm in short order. Well, here's the storm's distances from different places. From Georgetown, it's about 118 miles away. From Playa Carmen, it's about 321 miles away. From Havana, Cuba, it's about 324 miles away. From Chituma, it's about 358 miles away. And from Blaumopan, it's about 404 miles away. Tropical storm warning is in effect for Pinal del Rio, Cuba. Tropical storm watch is in effect for Tulum to Rio Lagartos, Mexico, and Cozumel. Well, here are the maximum sustained winds of the storm, 35 miles per hour, according to Forge 13, the National Hurricane Center, as well as SAD, AMSU, down at 30 miles per hour, ADT at around 37-38 miles per hour, teetering on tropical storm status, and the SATCON going with a very bullish 70 miles per hour. I can assure you it is not that strong, but for some reason SATCON does have it that high in intensity. You can see on satellite appearance there some nice convective bursts firing off there in the latest frames. Well, here's our cone on 28L, made very recently. A tropical storm is expected to pass by Cuba there. Tropical storm warnings are in effect, as we did just read off, and you can see it does become a Category 1 with winds of 75 miles per hour in around 2.5 days' time as it heads into the Gulf of Mexico. It could very well be stronger than that and head in sooner. We'll just have to see. A 65 mile per hour landfall is currently anticipated on the coastline of the United States. Well, here's our rainfall forecast. This is courtesy of the HMON. You can see there some 8 to 16 inch areas near Cuba, as the HMON does expect this storm to thread the needle between the Yucatan and Cuba, although I wouldn't be shocked to see this track overall shift westward to a significant extent. Well, here are the sea surface temperatures as of 18 UTC, 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, where this depression is right now. Very impressive and more than enough to sustain it, and a stronger storm if it were to become that. I wouldn't be shocked to see this be a hurricane as it passes the Yucatan if that mid-level center and low-level center do align and we do see faster intensification. What are the chances of tropical storm force winds? If you're on the Yucatan, there's some areas with 40 to 50% chances right now. You can see there Cuba in 50 to 60% chance areas in some areas, and you can see there the coastline of the United States in 30 to 50% chances across a large margin from Louisiana to Alabama. You can see there the fringes of Texas and Florida, all within that 5 to 10% chance of tropical storm force winds. What about hurricane force winds? Well, there are virtually zero chances over land right now for hurricane force winds, according to the National Hurricane Center, but that's definitely subject to change with time. We'll just have to see. You can see a 5 to 10% chance just touching that southern tip of Louisiana towards the very end of that forecasted wind probability. Well, what are the models saying? Well, when it comes to the intensity of this storm, the HWRF being very aggressive with a Category 2 peak, HMON with a Category 1 peak, and most of the other models with a tropical storm peak, I think a Category 1 peak is perfectly reasonable right now. Wind shear is expected to be low for the next day or two before it does begin to rise significantly, hence why weakening is expected within the next few days after the storm does pass the Yucatan. Sea surface temperatures will be great for this storm for the next few days until about 2 days' time again. So sea surface temperatures diminish and wind shear goes up. Overall favorability for the storm's intensification will drop significantly. With that being said, dry air will also come into play here in about a day's time or so, and that won't become a significant factor until after wind shear and sea surface temperatures take a toll on the storm and that dry air can really get entrained. This should result in some very steady and maybe even rapid weakening once these factors do take into play. Well, here is the satellite imagery of the storm, and you can see some very decent convective flares. This is on the southern side. The center is actually on the northern side of that convection, at least the low-level center, mid-level center well within it. There's a strong possibility that mid-level center and low-level center are actually aligned at this point. We don't actually know right now, and we could see those stack by tomorrow. And if they do stack sooner than expected, then we can definitely expect a storm that intensifies and gets significantly stronger than is currently expected. Alright, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow our outlets. First of all, the website, force13.com, with new articles coming out all the time for your reading pleasure about all things weather. YouTube.com/force13 with our tropical weather bulletins, animations, and tropical updates. You can also find us on Facebook with more information on those things. And then also on Twitter. We have the US branches and AU branches on there as well, but you can see the URL below. Teespring.com/store/force13. That's where you can find things like the Smug Mug to buy. And finally, the Patreon. Patreon.com/force13, where you can support the project and help it become even better.